Storytime. Perhaps some of you already know this about me, but for those of you who don't, I will tell you something that truly defines who I am. I had the immense fortune to study my undergraduate degree at New York University and my master's degree at Imperial College London. Both of them are consistently in the top 30 universities in the world. However, something almost no one knows is that I didn't pay a single dime. No, I am not lying. For 5 years, I studied in the best universities in the world for free. And this is actually the story of thousands of students. This sounds kind of fishy, right? Well, that is the magic of scholarships and financial aid. Scholarships and financial aid are both ways in which university education can become more affordable. These are either merit-based or need-based, aimed to allow best candidates to access educational opportunities. Hey, I have been there. The main excuse for someone to stop pursuing the best education in the world is affordability. In our minds, it is so good it must be unpayable. This thought can create emotional barriers that blur the real possibilities that many top universities offer. For this reason, we are going to dive into the fantastic world of financing your education. Hop on board. First, public versus private. In the United States, universities can be roughly divided into two: public and private. Public universities are designed to give an advantage to local communities. That is why these universities have a reduced tuition for in-state students. A student from another state or an international student will have to pay the out-of-state tuition, which is much higher. Additionally, another takeaway is that public universities in general will not grant financial aid to international students. These possibilities are much more common in the private sector. That is a good way to start narrowing things down. Second, eligibility. Among universities, some of the first things you need to check is eligibility for scholarships and financial aid. In general, the most prestigious private universities will offer these to both local and international students alike. This is the type of university we should start exploring. Furthermore, checking eligibility will help us to avoid wasting time applying to schools that we cannot afford. Some prestigious private universities might offer financial aid to US citizens, but not to international students. So these policies are very important in your process. Third, 100% need met. This is my favorite policy in the world. As it appropriately implies, a 100% need met policy means that, if accepted, the university commits to helping you out with 100% of your demonstrated financial need. Too good to be true? Well, that is exactly the type of policy that allowed me to fund my undergraduate education. Additionally, this often includes all expenses and not just tuition. This is very important, so let's try an example. In a university like NYU, tuition is going to amount to about $55,000 a year. However, accounting for room and board, transportation, travel, and personal expenses will add another $30,000 to the tally. You realize that you will need about $85,000 a year to attend. This is much more than the $20,000 you and your family are capable of paying. But then you notice something, that starting in class 2025, NYU has begun a 100% need met policy. You realize that the tough part will be not paying for the university, but getting in. Once you're in, you know NYU will cover the remaining $65,000 you need to make this dream come true. Fourth, need aware versus need blind. Remember holistic admissions? Well, as you may know by now, the US system will consider various aspects to evaluate your profile. GPA, tests, activities, honors, essays, rec letters, you name it. That is already a lot. However, there's one additional aspect universities might consider, and that is your financial necessity. This is where the term need aware comes in. Need aware universities will take into account your financial ability to pay for your education when deciding to admit you or not. That means that the more money you need, the more competitive the other parts of your profile need to be to make up for it. Which brings us to another one of my favorite policies, need blind. Can you guess what it means? Need blind universities will not take into account your financial need in their academic and admissions decision. Therefore, you will be evaluated equally if you can pay 10, 30, or the full cost of your education. I want to highlight that it is impossible to put all universities in a small set of categories, but it is still important to understand the general trends. There is a lot more to learn from financial aid and scholarships, but this introduction will help us grasp the most important concepts in this world. For instance, I knew I needed to get into a university that offered financial aid for international students. I also knew I would benefit from one that held a 100% NEET Met policy with a preference for NEET blind institutions. Looking at these different categories, I was able to find the universities that were the best fit for my financial profile. Now, it's your turn. Keep dreaming and see you soon.